Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 15th, and as you can see, it's a rather nice sunny day here in southern New England, in Connecticut. And what is very interesting to me is I've decided to venture out and do this outdoors just because it's such a beautiful day. And we have a very hazy sun, and to realize that the reason for that sun is wildfires 3 to 4,000 miles away just tells you the intensity of the natural disaster that's going on, and it's just kind of remarkable, and it seems to be reflective of what a tumultuous year this has been for many of us, and most of us, I would say, because the circumstances are so different this year and so unusual that it's actually a very interesting time to be looking at the topics that we are looking at in this course, because we are looking at how people and their organizations respond to changes and differing conditions, and this has been one of the prime laboratories. The year 2020 itself is a prime laboratory for organizational change and organizational response to unconventional, unpredicted times, and I hope you're making that connection and understanding what it can mean. So with that being said, I really want to just, as usual, go a little bit backwards over what we just did in the week past, in week 2, and what we are engaged in week 3, and to let you know where things are going and how I think things are proceeding. Okay, week 2, this is a very interesting discussion that we got into for me in particular. As you can tell, I'm probably the oldest person in this discussion. I would say that's pretty much a given. I lived through the entire Cold War period. That's kind of what I grew up with. That's what, right into my adulthood and even into my professional career, I understood that was going on. You'll have to forgive the motor noise going on behind me. Apparently somebody decides making noise with their car is fun. Some people don't grow up. That's all I can say. My opinion. Sorry. But back to where I was. And that was a very disconcerting time. And it was a time of rapid change on so many fronts. So the whole idea of leaving that in and having you guys discuss it, I think was still, every time I come around with this course, I said, should I leave that in? Should I do something with it? But I think it's a really great way of explaining and exposing us to two very different ways of thinking about how organizations ought to run. So those of you too who have military experience, and there are many of us in this class with the military experience, you guys have a different perspective on it than those of us who don't have military experience. So one of the things I really think I'm going to encourage people to do is, most people did a great job of explaining where you thought the material was leading you from the perspective that you have, that professional experience, that life experience that you have, and in many of our cases it's what we live every day. That's great. That is probably one of the best sources of information and of perspective, again, for dealing with these organizational issues. What I really want to urge everybody is, what I want you to do is use that, and then don't be afraid to venture out beyond your frame of reference and to try to look at problems from several frames of reference. This will actually either confirm your opinions, maybe expand them, give you a chance actually to learn a little bit more. And I think it's something that I saw at work here. Not a problem, but just something I'm suggesting you do. Step out of your own perspective and try to look at it from something from where you may not have that much familiarity, and I think that will help everyone. But the instructive thing I got out of this is that people were fairly open-minded about the two basic forms that we talked about, the mechanistic form and the organic. Organic always seems to win a popularity contest, if I may, because it seems so much more comfortable to a lot of people. But you can see where each style, each form, does have its place, and in many cases it's particular to the environment that particular organization finds itself in. And when we're dealing with large and complex organizations, they may be spanning multiple environments at the same time and need to move in different ways. Which brings us to the point of week 3. Now we're going to start looking at cultures. And culture is such a driving force in how people behave. And in organizations in particular, organizational culture is something we need to be very aware of. And it's around us. It surrounds us. We are part of it no matter what organization we are part of. And we need to understand its impact on us directly as individuals, and then on our colleagues and maybe those who are in other organizations that we deal with, how it affects that interaction. Very important. So we're going to look at one organization very, very closely this week, and it's really kind of interesting stuff. The material is about 10 years old, and actually I've known about that organization, IDEO, for some time before that, and have used them for an example of certain ways of doing things. You're going to see a very different way of doing things. Now, some of you, over the last 10 years as things have evolved, may be very familiar with the type of culture that's being portrayed. Some of you may think that this is absolutely new to you and everything. This is one where I really, again, ask people to have an open mind and consider it from multiple perspectives. It's a really, really different way of looking at things. And another way you may want to consider, relevant to what I opened with, look at how work has changed for many of us just in the last 6 to 8 months. Doesn't look a lot like what it looked like when this new year began. I haven't been on campus for, 5 months. Haven't been on any campus for 5 months. I've been working on all my projects and everything I do professionally. I have done from my home here. It's an entirely different feeling, and I think it's going to continue for a while. And until we get some certainty on a lot of fronts, it will continue for a while. We've also discovered that the hours of work that people are putting in have changed. That actually there's quite a bit of evidence right now that says people in this work from home environment are actually putting in more hours than they were when they were working from an office or from a factory or from a site. This is layered on top of the fact that we went through a generation now of communication technology, office automation technology, productivity technology, that when it all started back in the 80s and 90s, one of the big things that everyone was told was how all this productivity was going to give us more leisure time. And those of us who have stuck with it for that whole time can tell you it didn't give us more leisure time. It probably took it away. All right? So really think of things in a more expansive way, and I think you're going to have some fun with this week. I do want people, again, if you didn't and may have gotten a comment from me in the either last week or this week, some of this week's grading, go back and look at that September 3rd announcement video I made, letting you know how I want certain things done. It's just going to save you and me a lot of time and help the quality of the work that comes out of here. I do appreciate everyone putting up with my missing a day essentially last week and not getting things done until quite a little bit later than I expected. I did have some health problems that just came up out of nowhere and required some emergency treatment, and everything's progressing right now, so I'm on schedule and hope to maintain that. So being Tuesday, discussion grades should be finished this afternoon, and paper grades should be finished tomorrow, Thursday morning at the latest. So again, thank you for your attention, thank you for your participation, and I always encourage you to ask me any questions you have and contact me with any issues you want to discuss or need to arrange. You know where to find me. Okay, thank you very much.